the School of Public Affairs. And Emily is a part of the team with Penn State University Libraries, working on a brand new project this year that she's very excited to tell you all about. So Emily, I'll leave the floor to you.
Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so I hope you are seeing a PowerPoint slide. I am really excited to tell everyone today about the Personal Librarian Program, which is new this year, and it's being offered by university libraries. So this is a program for international students specifically, and it's run out of Canvas, and it just provides another touch point to learn about the library, interact with the libraries, get some tips, and connect with me as your campus librarian. So what you can expect to learn or do if you join the Personal Librarian Program is you can learn more about the United States and Penn State University libraries. You can get any questions you have answered. If I feel like you are asking a high-level upper division course research question, I will connect you with your subject specialist librarian, and then I will answer any other questions about the library. And you can stay up to date about international programs, services, or resources that international students in particular can benefit from. Now, the Personal Librarian Program, like I said, is run out of Canvas, and there are several librarians taking part in this. And you want to make sure that as a Harrisburg student, you're signing up for the Harrisburg Personal Librarian Program, and that's with me, Emily Reed. So the reason you want to sign up with me is because I know you're Harrisburg professors. So if you have questions about research assignments, it's much easier for me or one of the other Harrisburg librarians to get in touch with your Harrisburg professors about the research assignments. And we also have a really good idea of what research assignments are often assigned by our professors. So I am going to share 2 links into the chat. So let me bring up the chat so that I can share those with you. Okay, so the first link that I will be putting into the chat is the link to access it in Canvas, the Personal Librarian Program. Okay, Personal Librarian Program in Canvas. And then I also have a video to see how you can enroll. Because it is a multi-step process. You have to enroll in the Canvas course, and then you have to pick your personal librarian. So there are multiple steps to that. So I have a very short video about how to enroll, just walking you through that process. If you would like to sign up, you can also feel free to either email me, and I'm going to put my email in the chat here. Or you could even private message me here in the chat for this program today and just say, I want to sign up for the Personal Librarian Program. And you'll have to do the first step where you sign up in Canvas, but then we can assign you to the Harrisburg Personal Librarian Program. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to watch the chat and respond in chat so that we can keep moving along with the program today. Feel free to either chat and message everyone and I'll respond to everyone, or just message me directly in the chat. That's fine too. So let me stop sharing my screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily. Next, we have our guest speaker, Alan Babcock. He is the Disability Services Coordinator. He graduated from Temple University with a Master's of Education and a certificate in School of Psychology. In 2012, he also received Penn State Harrisburg Staff Diversity Award. Alan, we welcome you. So now the floor is yours. Alan?
Sorry, forgot to unmute. Do that too often. So, all right, so I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you all. And let's get, okay. There we go. All right. So, Yeah, so my training, I'm the Disability Services Specialist. I help students with disabilities here at Penn State Harrisburg, but my training is in school psychology. And what school psychologists do, and I've been a school psychologist 40 years now, that we specialize in how students go about learning, what gets in the way of their learning, and how to overcome those issues. And so, hey, you're supposed to go for me. Why isn't it moving forward for me? So it worked this morning when I wanted to move it forward. I'm having trouble moving my PowerPoint. So I might have to get some help here. Huh. All right. Oh, wait, it did change. Okay, so this is our workshop. I'm not sure how I changed slides, so maybe somebody did that for me. But I do not want to bore you for the next 45 minutes. I want this to address the issues you want to hear about. So I'm going to show you some topics, and we're going to have a poll put up so you can tell me what you really want to zero in on, and then we can move to that. And please use the chat to ask questions. There's a point at the end of each section where you can ask the questions, but if something is important, then somebody will ask me the question. Priya will say, hey, Alan, here's a question. Please answer that now. So here are the topics. Oh, my clicker is working. Good. So here's the topics that I'm prepared to discuss, but hey, I've been around a long time. I can adapt to whatever you feel that you need. So if, Priya, are you doing the poll? I think. So if you could do the poll.
I think Wendy or Rojina might.
Okay.
I can do it too, but I don't have the resources, and I'm not the co-host, so.
That's okay. I'll actually do the poll, and I have it here. So as Alan said, he has a lot of topics he can cover, but we want to cover what is most helpful for you today. So go ahead and feel free to just put your answer in this poll. So the question, what topics would be helpful for you to hear about today? And you can choose more than one if you like. So again, Alan comes with a wealth of knowledge and experience and has a lot to offer us, but we want to customize that to our audience here today.
All right.
So if there are a few more who want to put their answers in. Okay, great. We'll go ahead and end the poll and let you see these results here.
Big
Alan,
time.
can you see those results?
I can. Big time management. So that's great.
Yes.
That's really important. And then the studying. So make sure we cover all of those. And all right. Yeah. Okay. That looks good. But somebody's going to have to, so if I miss out and don't cover one of those topics, then I'm glad that, that the American culture is not there, because I'm not very good at covering that one. Actually, Byron used to cover that for me, so that's great. Okay, so let's jump into this. Can we get rid of the poll results? Can I get rid of it? I can. Oh, I've got a lot of power. Okay, here we go. So, come on now, why doesn't it go this time? So now, once again, I'm not moving forward. Ah, there, oh, aha, okay, I'm gonna do it this way. All right, so we're gonna go through this. We're not gonna do this one right away, because we're gonna really, okay, time management, really high on my list. So, and you'll see each one, see that little thing there up that says gold? Well, that's like, this is a gold nugget. This can really be helpful to you. And so what you wanna do when in time management, first thing you have to do is, what do you have to do? What are you going to do? So here's a little test for all of you. Have you read through all of your syllabi? And if you answered no, you got work to do. All right, really, syllabi can be very helpful. They give you so much information. So, and they tell you, okay, what readings do you have to do? Everything, what are your quizzes, projects? So you really want to be aware of what you have to do it. Then, all right, how long is it going to take you to complete each task? So I had to estimate how long it would take me to prepare this seminar. And I can guarantee you that I underestimated my time because I always underestimate my time, but I know that. So I really try to be honest about how long something will take, and then I double it. So that's, how long is it going to take? And then, so this is from my syllabus in abnormal psychology, and this is what students get. So you look, it tells them what they need to do. So this is Monday on November 5th. All right, nothing really due, but if they look ahead to Wednesday, hey, I want the draft of their critical thinking essay. So they know, whoa, okay, got to work on that, maybe Monday and Tuesday, so that is done. And you'll see every Friday there's a quiz. So they're going to put some sort of reminder in their phone, or every Friday, hey, got a quiz in abnormal psychology, got to do that. So you can see it tells them what they really need to do. That's how, hopefully your syllabus tells you that. Now, where are you going to do it? And this is important. You want to know where. We're going to get in that in a little more detail. When you're going to do it, how you're going to do it. You have to have a procedure for how you're going to do it. How are you going to write that English 15 paper? What are the steps? And if you have that down, it's going to be easier to do. And the last one is so, so important. And we're going to come back to that monitor. You have to monitor, am I getting this stuff done? So we take a look. This is a schedule, all right? And it could be a paper schedule. My wife loves paper schedules. I hate them. I'd rather be online and do it digitally. But you can see this student has planned out what they need to do virtually a lot of the week. And students say, oh, that sounds so restrictive. I want more freedom. Well, it does give you freedom in that, let's say it is Thursday night. So we have Thursday night, and at 8 o'clock, you're supposed to do homework. And somebody says, wow, come on, let's go out and let's go do something tonight. Well, I have this, do my math homework. Well, you can move doing your math homework to a different time. So you're not stuck. You can modify your schedule, but you want to know, this is how you get things done, knowing when you're going to do it. Real important. A schedule can be so helpful. Okay, here's another piece of gold, and this will make, if you get this, your life at Penn State's going to be so much more enjoyable. So if I learn something on day 0, right, and I learn this material, as soon as I put that book away, I start forgetting it. And by the 3rd day, I've forgotten 40% of the material. So that that's not going to get you a good grade on the exam. But if I go back the day after I learned it and relearn it, right, now I'm going to be at 60% 7 days out. But if I review it again on the 3rd day, so I get to even skip a day, that learning curve, I start remembering it. And if you review your material at least every other day, or even better yet, every day, by the time the exam comes up, you have the material in your long-term memory. There's no cramming for tests. Students who study this way, college is enjoyable because you walk into the exam and you know the material. And that's a great feeling. I can still remember those feelings. You walk into, I know the answers. This feels great. So hold on to this. Try to get this in your mind. And by the way, we're going to make my PowerPoint accessible to you. We're going to find a way to email it to you. If you put your email in the chat or some other way, send it to Wendy or tell Wendy you want it. She has a copy of this. But hold on, the forgetting curve, really important to be aware of that. And then you have to follow your schedule. So want visual reminders and auditory reminders. So if I were to show you my phone and the, see if I can do it real quickly. So here is, I probably can't see that. Right, it's all the alarms on my phone. And one of those alarms says this seminar. Why? Because I have my phone set up to remind me what I have to do throughout the day. Because I can get involved in something else and forget. You want something to remind you. It's easy to forget things, especially difficult tasks. So do I remember to call the dentist? No, not really. If I put it on my schedule, then I have that reminder. So you want to have reminders. And you want to tell somebody when you plan to start. So if I really want to get something done, well, here at home, I would tell my wife. Why? Because comes time to do it, and she goes, excuse me, Alan, you're still watching TV, and you said you were going to get started on working on that seminar. Don't you think you ought to do that? So it makes me accountable, and it will make you accountable if you tell somebody else. If you're keeping something to yourself, yeah, chances are you might not want to do it, and you might not do it. And then the just get started piece. So I have a lecture to give for an American Studies course next week, and I really haven't started on it because I'm thinking about the whole lecture and I want it to be this wonderful thing. But you know what? I just have to get started. I have to put it on my schedule and say, in fact, I did put it on my schedule for tomorrow, and just get started. Because once you get started, it starts to flow and it works. But when you're looking at that whole big task, especially if it's a long-term project, it's very hard to get started. So I just start. Don't worry about it. Just walk to the library. That's a start. So that's really a helpful piece. And then you want to keep track of your schedule. This is how you use your schedule. So you keep track. Did you start on time? Were you able to tell how long it took? You want to use it so you have good information. Make good use of the information. So if you're having trouble getting started, then hey, I got to work on that. All right, that's what I need to work on. Or if it took you longer, hey, I need to schedule more time. So you go back over your schedule and you learn from it. Now, let me tell you that if you think you are going to improve your study skills by just sitting and listening to me talk for 45 minutes to an hour, you're not. You need to get help doing it. You need, if there's an issue there for you, you need to get somebody's assistance. What I hope you learn from this is, wow, wait, there's some things I can do to improve it. Okay, who's going to help me do this? Oh, this is another piece of gold here, all right? Scheduling. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to go to the University of Connecticut. Okay, so this is an assignment calculator. I want you to look at this. This is a wonderful thing to have, especially for papers, long-term papers. You create it. So here it was assigned, actually I was fooling around with this yesterday, so it says the 23rd, due on the 19th. And look what it does. It gives you the steps, right? And now it's broken down into small steps that are doable. So let's see, by Friday, it was assigned on Wednesday, can I just understand my assignment? Hey, that's doable. I can do that, right? So, and if you have any trouble, you can go to other websites and get some advice. So it's like having somebody sitting there helping you do it. But these dates are so helpful because, by Wednesday the 30th, so that's a week away, all right? You have to start doing the background research, but it gives you your steps and it gives you a date. So here is a date. If you don't have that done by the 30th, whoa, I'm behind. I need to get this done. Now you're not going to be waiting till the last minute to do it. Really very helpful thing to do. If you use it, I would urge you, just use it once. Just say, okay, fine, I got this thing coming up. I'm going to use it once and see if it helps. And by the way, the projects can be some of it, this is, I think, for a paper, but you can have it for other things. For a lab report, one of the links that I have will show you how to do something in a lab report. All right, so let's see if I can come back up to this. Oh, it's working yet. All right, so assignment calculator, another piece of gold, helps you with all this time management and scheduling pieces. So that is my spiel on time management. Questions? What's missing? What do you want to ask me about? Okay, so I want to throw something out. All right. And by the way, rarely does anybody ask me questions, and I also tell the students that, yeah, I do presentations to faculty. They don't ask questions either. Why? We're always afraid, oh, I'll look stupid, or, oh, it'll be a bad question. You want to practice asking questions, really. And so, but I don't have a question. Make one up, because in class, when you ask questions, you're making a connection with your faculty. And when I teach abnormal psychology, I love the students. I really connect to students who ask questions. So you want to think about asking questions and just asking questions. But if you don't have them, we will move on. Let's see here. Okay, study time. So you asked about studying. Let's just go through some of this. You want to have an area somewhere where you do your studying. We are creatures of habits. We get through the day by doing things automatically. If I drive down the street, I head for campus because that's what my automatic, piece does. So what you want to do is have a place where you always study. And by the way, if you want a good location, 3rd floor of the library. That's where all the serious students study. But what happens is you get in a habit, when you sit down at that desk or when you walk up to the 3rd floor, your brain says, oh, it's time to learn material. I am in my home office right now. When I come down, it's in the lower level of our house. When I come down to my office, I know it's time to do work. So I am not going to be looking at Facebook. No, my brain says, no, it's time to do your work. So have a place where you study. That's very helpful. And then you really have to determine, what do I need to learn here? And have a strategy for learning the material. For example, I also teach statistics. Okay, so what's the strategy for learning statistics? Do the problems, do the problems. Go to the back of that chapter and do the problem. How about abnormal psychology? That's different. The strategy there has to be read the material, set the book aside, test myself. Did I learn the material? So if I'm looking at mood disorders, can I explain the mood disorders, right? After you test yourself, you go back and say, what do I still need to learn? So, you're doing statistics, you couldn't do that one assignment, you couldn't do that one problem, great, you learn it. You learn that I still need to learn that, you go back and do it. So studying is a process of learning, testing, learning, testing, learning, testing, and that's where you get that learning curve where you all of a sudden you get the material into long-term memory. All right, I get self-conscious when I'm just rambling on because I'm thinking, okay, does anybody else, is this being useful to anybody? A study guide. A study guide can be so helpful. So this is, what do you do with a study guide? You're going to write down all the main topics, right? And it works for virtually anything. So here are the topics. Then under each topic, okay, what are the main ideas? Works particularly well in abnormal psychology, but can be even used in statistics. All right. Key concepts. So your first year here, you're going to have a lot of multiple choice tests because they're easy to grade. Well, if you can learn all the concepts and the vocabulary, guarantee you're already going to have a C on that exam, right? Because that's easy to assess using multiple choice questions. Right, draw any charts or tables that you need. There are charts or tables that will help you understand some things. I don't think I have an example of one of those, unfortunately, but so you're just getting all this stuff. So this is what a study guide looks for mood disorders. So the chapter on mood disorders is about 40 pages long. Well, here it's really condensed into one page, right? So over here it talks about the different mood disorders, talks about the different types of symptoms of a mood disorder, special consideration over for bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, right? Suicide facts. So there's 5 facts that I teach about attempted suicides, 5 facts about completed suicides, 4 myths. So it's all right here in one condensed version that you can really study and use to test yourself. Can you write out, the 5 facts about attempted suicides? Really helpful. So you're getting it down and you're organizing it. Organizing material is so important. When you organize material, it's a lot easier to understand. All right.
Alan, can I interject a question here real quick? Yeah, we had a question in the chat that I do believe you touched on, but I thought maybe just if you could summarize for us, how do you avoid putting too much information into a study guide? So how do you organize it in a concise way that there's not too much information?
Yeah, so, and one of the tricks is, can I get it down to one page there? It's a student who highlights too much. So you can then, maybe you're going to go and put down a lot of the information and then cross out where, whoa, wait, do I really need this piece? And you're looking for your overall topics. So here, these symptoms, you don't want every symptom there. You just have to know, can I name emotional symptoms, cognitive symptoms? But here's the best one of all. You take any study guide you make, and I don't care if it has too much information, you take it to your professor. And you can take things to your professor, remotely, all right? You can Zoom with your professors and you can share your screen and you can share your study guide. So you can do this and then you ask your professor, say, I'm overwhelmed by all this stuff. Can you help me with it? And they're going to give you direction on how to condense it. Not only that, but they're going to give you cues about what's going to be on the exam and what they expect you to learn. If a student comes to see me, right? I can almost not help myself. I'm going to give them information about the exam because I'm so excited that they came to see me and they showed that kind of interest in my subject. So with highlighting sometimes, you know, I tell students, okay, highlight and then highlight your highlights. So then you're getting it condensed down. So whatever that student is out there, if that helped, fine. If you want to elaborate on your question, please do. This is how I give you good information. When you say, yeah, that's not what I was looking for, Alan, I want you to you know, zero in on this, that's fine. Okay, you have to have memory strategies, right? There are memory strategies. And by the way, you're going to see later, we have people at Harrisburg that are going to teach you memory strategies. But an acronym, it gives you, you get one word, the first letter of each word stands for one of the topics. So if you want to know the big 5 characteristics of personality, it's ocean. And ocean is each letter stands for one of the characteristics of personality. So now you have something to trigger you. So this, you know, impact, all right, it's for cell division, and it gives you the steps of the division. That's one technique. And all I want you to know is there are loads of techniques. So an acrostic is when you make up a sentence. This is for math. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So please is parentheses. But you can see, you can call it up. E is exponents, M is multiply, D is divide, A is add, and S is subtract. That's the sequence for solving an equation. And you could put this up at the top of your, you know, exam paper and always refer to it. It can be really helpful. Creating a story. So you create a story. I use this in tell students use it in abnormal psychology. Create a story that helps you learn the material. So can you create a story that tells you about anxiety? And I can't call one up off the top of my head, but you can create, and then it's easier to remember a story than to remember all those facts. If you're sitting there trying to memorize facts, you don't relate to it as well. But if you get a story going, it works pretty well. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to show the video on loci memory strategy, but it's a strategy where you walk around and you store pieces of information different places. So you know, you might walk into your dorm room and say, okay, here's the kitchen. I'm going to store this piece of information in this location. And then you go back to your bedroom, you're storing other information there. And then when you're taking the test in your mind, you think about you know, the locations, and it helps you call up the information. No, there are a lot of memory strategies, and we can teach you those memory strategies. And the last one here is drawing a picture. Often pictures will help you. You can draw a picture of positive reinforcement. And here's the thing. You have a concept you're having trouble with. What you do is you search that concept on the internet, and then you go and click on images. And it's going to give you pictures of that concept. You go, whoa, okay, this is really cool. So electricity can be water going through a pipe, and different parts of the pipe are, you know, different aspects of electricity. And so you can use that to remember the information. All right, so study skills. You want your studying to be active. So if students come to me and I say, okay, how'd you study for your last major test? Oh, I looked over my notes. That's not a good way to study. That's not that, because it's very passive. What happens when you look over your notes, you're looking at your notes and thinking, yep, I get it. Yep, okay, I understand this. But guess what? You don't have your notes when you go take the exam. So you walk into the exam and say, I know this. Why did I perform so poorly? Because you didn't practice recalling the information. And that's what an exam is. An exam is not about knowing the information. It's about being able to recall it. So that's what you have to practice. So you want to verbalize when you're studying. And you say, whoa, you just told me to go to the library. How can I verbalize in the library? People are going to yell at me, especially up on the 3rd floor where it says, keep quiet. Write it out. That's even better because you'll have to write it out for the exam. So you want to practice recalling the information. Really helpful. All right. And you want to make multiple connections. You see, you know, that's how we recall information. If you only store it in one place in your brain, it's going to be harder to recall. And you can get an example of this. So I'm walking down the hallway and I see a professor coming and I think, I want to call him by name. What is his name? What is his name? And then I started thinking, okay, I know he's in the math department, so that's one. And we had that meeting where, wow, we had a disagreement. And oh, it starts with a W. Oh, what, Dr. Walker. That's how we recall information. So if you're storing information in different ways and seeing relationships, it's easier to recall. So you want to make a lot of connections. How does this relate to this? How does bipolar 1 relate to bipolar 2? How does anxiety relate to depression? And if you can answer those questions, then you're going to remember the information really well. Right? This is beautiful. So you want to study? You really want to study something? Teach the material to someone who's not in your class. So I come home and I start telling my wife about something. She goes, whoa, you're going too fast. No, what's that? And she's making me really spell things out. That's now I better really know the material to do that. Now, okay, it takes a really good friend to do that, who's willing to put up, but if you trade it off, great way to learn material. And by the way, anytime I teach a course, I always learn from the course. Sorry, I have to end that telephone call. So great study strategy is to teach the material because it's so active. You're really into it. And of course, to learn those facts and to learn the terms, flashcards are beautiful, but you don't have to make up flashcards. So ask yourself, do you know about Quizlet? And if you don't know about Quizlet, I want you to go learn about it. Quizlet is this great resource where you look up a topic or you look up a course, and it gives you, if somebody made up flashcards, the flashcards are there for you. And you will sometimes find Penn State Harrisburg courses have their own little set of flashcards. So it's right there for you. And it's got a lot of strategies. You can go back. If you miss it, you put it in one pile. If you get it right, you put it in another pile. Learning vocabulary, learning the facts, learning the terms. Yeah, your first year, 2 years in college, that's going to be very important to do. And with math problems, how do you study for any math? All right, you do the math problems, but here's the deal. You have to do them without assistance. So I have students, they do their math problems, but they have the book open, or they do their statistics problems and they have the book open. Guess what? You're not going to have the book open for the exam. So don't do it that way, right? Set your book aside, do the problems, and then go back and evaluate. And that's how you'll learn what you don't know. But if you have the book open, all that means is you can do the problems with the book open. Probably not going to be what your exam looks like. Okay, any questions there in the chat? No. All right, so resources, all right? So with time management and study skills. If you don't know about the Learning Center, you need to learn about it. It's a great resource. And I've often heard Damien say, oh yes, and the tutoring at Penn State is free. I'm always sitting there thinking, no, Damien, it's not free. You get paid, the tutors get paid, it's not free. Here's the thing, you already paid for the tutoring. Okay? It came as part of your tuition. So all you're doing is using a service that you paid for. Probably a good idea to use it. And really your first 2 years, almost every class is covered, and they'll pair you up with someone who tutors, that for that professor. So you heard Emily say, yeah, we know the professors well. The tutors also know what your professors expect. And one of the neatest things is we have this academic success coach. What they do, they don't necessarily teach you the content. They teach you time management. They teach you how to study. They teach you how to take notes. I mean, they can really, really help you with stuff that you didn't learn in high school. Okay, how do I get by in these classes? So by all means, make use of the Learning Center. Okay, no questions? All right. I'm not that good, guys. All right, note taking.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's in regards to the loci memory strategy. So when you have large sum of information that you're trying to recall later for an exam, how would that work?
All right, so let's do the video. What the heck is, so that's somebody asked a question, now it says, Alan, do the video. So let's take a look at how that works. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but it'll give you an idea. Please come up. I didn't practice calling this one up. Ah, but it was there, yay. Oh, Alan. All right. Come on. That's really slow.
There's a pattern to genius.
So I may have to try to do my best to describe it. But notice where I go. I go to you know, YouTube, and I just do a search, and it tells me how to do it. Okay.
We all think we're terrible at remembering things. We all complain we can't remember faces or remember names. We can remember faces often, but we can't remember names at a party.
So Alan,
Yeah, I can't see.
maybe what you can do is you can stop screen sharing and start resharing again, because I'm sure the link may be on a different screen. So
Let me get this
you
guy.
cannot swap screens like that. You have to like stop screen sharing and then restart.
Based on the idea of working with what the mind already does.
Come on, stop.
Which is
good. Okay, now I can listen. Tell me that again.
So now start screen sharing again, and when you do that, you'll get an option of screens. So choose the screen that has the video. Perfect.
You see it?
Yes, now we.
remembering things.
Thank you.
We all complain we can't remember faces or remember names. We can remember faces often, but we can't remember names.
Alan, we can see the video, but we can't hear it. Alan, if you could just unmute yourself and then unmute the video there.
Memorable connections between.
So
Yeah.
I have to do something about sharing computer
The audio.
audio.
No, we could hear it now.
Yeah, we could hear it as long as you're unmuted.
Oh, okay. Now let's go with that.
Just do a full screen, that way it's.
Say it again.
Just click on full screen on the video.
Click on.
The bottom right-hand corner, the full screen.
Oh, okay.
Yes, right there. And then just turn the volume up as much as possible, and we should be able to hear it okay.
All right. Where's my volume increase? Come on, Alan. Okay. So do I need to go back to the beginning?
Probably, yes.
Well, you know what? Actually, this part is not. So I'm going to let it go from here because he really hasn't gotten into it.
So we
Okay.
lock together. So for example, to give you a practical example, and everything great goes back to the Greeks. So this is an ancient Greek technique. It's called the Loki system. And you can use this if you need to remember any long list of things. So I use this at night if I need to remember stuff I've got to do the next day, but I'm too tired to write them down. So here's what you do. Sounds like a lot of work, but it isn't once you get your head around it. So have a walk that you know around an area that you can create in your mind very easily. So it could be your street, it could be the walk from the subway station to your house or whatever. And all you need along that area are a few set points that you can remember without having to think about it, because there's always a zebra crossing there, there's a post box, a mailbox. I'm probably using very quaint English expressions here. There's a certain store, there's a bush or whatever, just things that you're very familiar with. So the first thing you've got to remember is, I don't know, I have to take my suit to the dry cleaners, and I've got to do that tomorrow. So I make an image. You have to make a bizarre image of that thing. So say a suit that is so clean, it's sort of gleaming bright white that you can barely look at it, and you attach that to this image of the mailbox. So you imagine someone's pulled that, like dressed up the mailbox in a gleaming white suit, or is trying to stuff it in, but the light is shining out of the little slot, whatever. You just make a bizarre image that links the two. Then you forget about it. You don't need to think about it. And then the next thing you do at the next location, and the next thing you do at the next location, and so on. And as long as you've made those images as bizarre and ridiculous as I'm making them sound, which is what's important, all you do the next day is you just mentally walk down that route again, and you go, why is there a white suit on the, oh yeah, I'm going to take my suit. And then the next one maybe is, you know, you had to call your mother, and it's, what is it? It's a big shrub by the side of the road. So you're, you know, there's your mother in there waving a telephone from the shrub, and she's, you know, there's branches and leaves, I don't know, caught up in her hair and whatever, just a silly image that that you don't forget. So they would do this, and you can, the bigger your area of locations are, the better. I did this with the history of art. I used to read a lot around the history of art. I was sick of forgetting about it. So I know the city of London fairly well. So I just took the route around the centre of London that I know well, which would give me about 600 different locations. And then starting in Greek Street, for example, which is a city in London, I started there with the ancient Greeks. I would place these bizarre images at little locations. So I could, by walking around this route, I could recreate the history of art as I knew it from the books that I'd read. So you can expand this thing, or you can keep it small and manageable. So that's a really good system for remembering lists. If you want a couple of others that are probably a little briefer to describe, if you want to remember names at a party, and I don't particularly enjoy parties, so I always tend to do this because it gives me something to do. You find a link between the person's name and something about their appearance, what they're wearing, their face, their hair, something.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that and go back to this. But something I thought of as I went through there, I don't know, did that describe it well enough to you? Is a big question, but you can't watch a video like that and say, okay, I've got that. You actually have to practice, all right? You have to practice study strategies. You have to practice memory strategies. It's just not instantaneous. It would be nice, but it's not. And so it is a matter of practicing using it. And so what you want to do is pick something that you think will work for you and then practice using that. Real important. Okay, anything else in the chat that I should be aware of? Okay.
Nope, not as of yet.
But notice what, and when you get my PowerPoint, you can even look up some of the topics and then you can do a search for them, right? So, all right. So we're moving to note taking, right? And we're going to start, it's one of my favorite videos because the professor kind of reminds me of myself. So let's just start and take a look at this. Oh, I didn't share this. Okay.
There is a huge fundraising deadline coming up for Senate Democrats, and they need your help right now if they're going to need it.
I'm asking you to please donate now to help flip the Senate.
Can you hear that?
I want to step by. The final step by Bentley to axle acetate brings out the last bit of energy as NADH is original glucose. The axle acetate can finally bind with another acetylcholine, and the whole process starts all over. And that's the Krebs cycle. You got that?
You got that. Introducing the Pulse Smart Pen from LiveScribe. It records everything you hear and links it to what you write. Records everything and links it to what you write, so you never miss a word.
Next step, get the Skyway up to code. Get the numbers on the 10-acre cornfield. Let's go with idea 7. Hold that to next quarter. Typo paragraph 3. Yes, but I want a 4-to-1 return. That's not a caribou, Anderson. It's an elk. I want these changes tomorrow. You got that?
You got that. Introducing the Pulse Smart Pen from LiveScribe. It records everything you hear and links it to what you write. Records everything and links it to what you write, so you never miss a word. So what makes the Pulse Smart Pen smart? For one thing, it's what's inside. It has an infrared camera at the tip which tracks everything you write or draw. And a built-in microphone that records crisp, clear sound. Inside is a computer.
All right, so what this pen does is you take it and it's on computer paper, and as you're taking notes, it's recording the lecture, and then when you want to go back and listen just to a part of the lecture, you tap on your notes and it plays that part of the lecture. When I teach statistics, first day, I tell everybody, go to the library and pick up a smart pen. And by the way, they're available in the library or from the Learning Center, right? You sign them out for the whole semester. And then now you have to get your professor's permission to record the lecture, but more and more professors are saying, okay, now you have a recording of your lecture. And I think, all right, so you take notes in class. That's great. That's necessary. You got to take notes in class. But those aren't the important notes. After class, you create notes. It's the notes that you create that really help you learn the material. So you want to take, so what you're doing is you're using your smart pen, you're taking the notes, then you go back and say, oh, what did he say, you know, about a negative reinforcement? That's what sounds like a weird term. You tap on those notes and it plays back that part of the lecture. So what you're going to do, you're going to create notes that are going to help you study. And you'll be able to tell, what is my instructor, what's my professor emphasizing? Real important to know. So I'm a big fan of the smart pen or any other note-taking device where you're actively involved. By the way, research says that if you're writing out notes, hence the smart pen, you're learning the material better than taking them on a computer. Probably not true for everybody, but it is true for the majority of people. So here's notes that you're taking in class. So, you know, your professor is talking about intelligence and saying, oh, a lot of definitions, blah, 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 and moving through and like, wow, you're having trouble keeping up. Just put down the main topics. That's all. Because then when you go to the library right after class, if you can, now you're going to create your notes. And so now you hear Spearman. What's Spearman known for? Okay, general intelligence, but also specific types of intelligence. Now you're creating the notes that are going to help you do well on the exam. And I've just went through, these are more notes that you create. So Sternberg's theory. Notice now when you're going to do your study guide, you're going to be able to have each theorist in a different place on your study guide and what the highlights of that person's theory. So it really helps to get the information organized. And you could use your loci thing about, as you walk across campus, storing each theorist in a different location and making up that bizarre picture of the person in that location. And yeah, you might have to get some help practicing using it, but you could do that. Gardner, he's got multiple intelligences. You look at Gardner, multiple intelligence. If you were in my class, you would say, I'm going to really memorize that stuff. Why? Because I know that Alan always has an essay question that he can grade easily. I don't like vague essay questions. So I love essay questions that have, so I can look for, okay, did they mention linguistic intelligence, logic, you know, and now it's really easy to grade. So think about that as you're taking notes. So that's note taking. There's got to be some questions about note taking because that's not very complete explanation. No. All right.
So actually, I'm kind of curious, have any of our students here at this workshop used a smart pen before? And if so, what has your experience been? Can anybody speak to that? So no one has used a smart pen before?
So here's a challenge, all right? I want you to go, after this, go to the library. You walk up to the Circulate. Ooh, I don't know how you get them, but I know they have a lot of them. You go to and say, how do I sign out a smart pen, right? So just try it for one class. Pick out any one of your, I don't care which class it is. Try it and try it for a week. If you're not thrilled with it, then take it back. I haven't known too many students who weren't thrilled with it. It's really a neat thing. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to do is whet your appetite. Like, okay, I can make my life better. Which one of these techniques am I going to use to make my life better? And that's one of the reasons I love giving this seminar is because I'm better at organizing my calendar and doing things has to do with my job after I do this, because it just reminds me. Okay, so let's move on to studying for exams, all right? So how do you study for an exam, right? Review your syllabus, you find out, okay, what do I have to learn? Yeah. Okay, you're getting all the information out there, right? Looking at your study guide, right? Yeah, if you have trouble, where do you go for help? YouTube has the Khan Academy. If you haven't learned about the Khan Academy, you want to learn about it. If a student has trouble with statistics, I say, go to the Khan Academy. Students go back, wow, he's a better teacher than you are, Alan. That's fine. I want you to learn the material. All right. Another test question. Do you know if any of your textbooks have a companion website? And if they do, have you been there? I take test questions right off the companion website and people miss them. And I go, what? You didn't go there? So, all right. And then do searching on the internet, but not really what I wanted to show you. Okay. All right. So beds are for sleeping, not for studying. All right. So what's your brain think when you get into bed? Not to study, go to sleep. All right. Libraries for studying. We hit upon this already. So, all right.
I'm sorry. Can I interrupt you for a minute?
You may.
I'm not sure if you're trying to show your PowerPoint, but we can't see it. So the screen that we see right now is the Smart Pen video.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's stop sharing, all right?
Yep.
Then share my screen, and I like to think I don't need glasses, but I do. All right, share, and then start from the current slide. Are you seeing it now?
Yes.
All right, but there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna, oh no, it got me to where I wanted to be. Thank you. I thought you were all seeing it.
Thank you.
That is why, students, it's so important to speak up. Like I assume, yeah, I can see it, you can see it. No, guess what? You couldn't. Always speak up, always speak up. You'll see the universe rewards action. You have something going on, take action. All right, so, all right. You want questions? Who can help you study effectively? Where am I getting? I'm not getting to the slide I want. Do you study better alone or in a group? People are different. Know how you study. Know what works for you. And if you get a study group, make sure they're serious. Ooh, always look around the class and say, who really knows this material? Yeah, that's who you want to make friends with, right? That got me through a lot of courses. I would go make friends with whoever appeared to know the material really well. Hey, let's go out for a cup of coffee because I knew they were going to help me. I had this buddy in college. He could always tell me what the essay questions were going to be on the history exam. I had no idea. He always knew. He just had this sense. So you look for people who can help you and go meet with your professor. So students tell me, I've had students say, well, I didn't meet with you, Alan, because you're loud and you're kind of scary. I'm thinking, I'm a puppy dog, but that's not what, so no, they did, but you have to meet. Even if your professor is mean and scary, go meet with them because you're likely to have a supervisor who's mean and scary that you need to meet with. So get used to meeting with scary people. But when you meet with a professor, you will learn a tremendous amount and you'll connect with your professor. And as much as I'm on the guard against it, if I'm grading an essay and I really know that student, yeah, chances are they're going to get a better grade than somebody else. All right, I want to get to this before we get done here. All right, yeah, and the Learning Center, of course. All right. This is the one I wanted. Exam preparation. Take practice tests. That's the best way. Oh yeah, take practice tests, all right? Am I making my point? You wanna take practice tests, all right? That's how you prepare for exam, by far. The very best way. If you're not taking practice tests, you're not doing a great job, all right? Yeah, you review your study guide, okay, yeah, but take practice tests. All right, we're running out of time. I'm not worrying about having a time for questions, Wendy, because people could ask questions throughout. All right, and predicting the questions. Predict the questions. All right, yeah, the Learning Center, we've been through this. The website, we've been through that. Okay, this is a lot. I have students come up and thank me for this thing I'm about to show you now. Pure gold. It's called a legal cheat sheet. So, you see this? That's an illegal cheat sheet. Don't do it, all right? Sooner or later, you'll get caught, all right? Sooner or later, somebody, and that's ugly. It really is because the professor then reports you. It just, I hate doing it, but I've done it. But this is a legal cheat. You turn your test over and you recreate your study guide the way you learned the material. So I don't care how the professor asks the question, you're going to be able to answer it. You draw all the things that you need, all right? You write out your memory strategy, all those lists that you need, list of what you memorized, all right? And what does it look like? Lo and behold, it looks like your study guide, all right? So that's how you memorize it. Then you refer back to your study guide to answer the questions. The professor says, okay, which one of these facts is not true for attempted suicides? Oh, it's confusing. No, you look and say, okay, I wrote down the 5 facts. Oops, there's the one that wasn't there. Bingo, you're on your way. legal cheat sheets. Nobody's gonna, and I've had professors come up, hey, Alan, what is this? I've seen these, that students are doing. They love it too. They love to see students use it. So that's what I want to do. I think maybe I'm gonna have to end there. Okay, let me just hit one. Oh gosh, all right. So this you'll have to get off. So the answer to all your problems is being able to problem solve. And I don't have time really to go through this, but really important to be able to do this. And I wanted to do the participation thing. So I'm not going to get to it, but it's in the PowerPoint. So you really want to practice participating. If you part of your grade is participating, let's see if I'm up here. Now, this is getting to know your professor, very helpful. All right. Oh, the difficult accents. Okay, we're not going to be able to cover everything, but you didn't ask about that, so that's good. Participation. All right. Think of questions to ask ahead of time. Your professor said you had to participate. Think of something. Ask your professor, can I participate by sending you an email? They might say, yes, I would. All right. But you want to prepare. Watch how other students participate. Do it their way. And just practice doing, oh, I get so scared. Okay, feel the fear and do it anyway. And all of a sudden it gets easier. So, Wendy, we're running out of time, right? Can anybody hear me?
Yep, no, we're here.
So 12:30 was the time we had to tell students they had to go?
Yeah, so we just have a couple minutes for questions. If you guys have any, please feel free, unmute yourself. You can also put it in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
Or use the chat. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, or use the chat. Yep.
Okay, so I just put my email in the chat. I love talking to students. I love brainstorming with students on how they can do things. Feel free to email me. Yeah, you'll get a message back that says I'm so busy, I have trouble returning emails. But, I do pick them up and I'm getting better. Things are slowing down. I would love to talk to you about any kind of help that you need, all right? And yes, I'll probably refer people to the Learning Center, but I love supporting students. So please don't hesitate to get a hold of me if you're having a particular problem. Let somebody know, Wendy or somebody know your email address and we'll get the PowerPoint out to you.
Yep, I did collect some email addresses and I will definitely send those, send that PowerPoint to you. If anyone still wants to give me their email address, feel free. I'm curious, if there aren't any questions, can we just take 1 minute and have a couple of you share like what was most helpful for you today? What strategy you'll use the most or what resource you'll use the most? Can maybe just 2 of you share what was most helpful?
Please. This is helpful to me. I'm an old man. I don't know what's helpful to students, so I need to hear from you. Oh, cool. All right. So I should show that video. Thank you. I will do that next time. I'll learn how to share the video and share the sound from my computer.
You can just simply talk to us. It's okay.
There is a way to do that, though, and I should know how to do it. Ah, yeah, Quizlet. Yes, Quizlet. That's so cool. Quizlet is wonderful. It gives you all kinds of questions. So great. Okay.
Any more? We have the Loki memory strategy, Quizlet. Any other resources or tips that were especially helpful for you today? Emily is also still here and willing to take any questions or comments about the personal librarian program. So feel free. Yes, it's being recorded. And go to the librarians. Librarians love to help students. I work with Bernadette Lear a lot because she supports the social sciences. She just wants to help students. I go to her and she helps me do research. She's wonderful. So very helpful. And go in there, it says, ask a librarian. There's so much support. There is tremendous support at Penn State Harrisburg. Please use it. Recording for the career studies student. So you have to go to Wendy, and I think Wendy can share the whole
seminar with you and put in your PowerPoint, but get a hold of me. I know people say, Alan, you're not supposed to be spending a lot of time with career studies. Get a hold of me and we'll talk.
Okay.
I would like to say that the library resources, the thing that Emily showed is really going to help everyone a lot, because like we all do a lot of researches and we have to write a lot of research papers in almost every subject, like even if it's a gen ed or something. So please, if you are international students, you should go for it. Definitely. Thank you, Alan. And thank you for everyone who participated and who were listening. Wendy, is there anything else?
Don't be afraid to share the PowerPoint with your friends.
Yes, definitely. You can just put it on the social media so that everyone can look
I
at
don't care
it.
where nothing's copyrighted that I shared with you today yet. Share it wherever you want.
All right. Great. I think we can end it here then. All right. Everyone's free to go. Or if you guys still have questions, we still have a little bit of time. Well, no, but whoever can stay and want to discuss, you can.
Yep. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope it was helpful. Thanks, Alan and Emily.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. I love doing it anytime.
Great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. Goodbye. I'm going to go.
All right. Good
Goodbye.
rest of your day. Priya, thanks for hosting.
Pleasure. It was my first time, so I was kind of nervous, but I figured it out. So, yay.
Great job.
You have to be willing to make mistakes, right? That's what
I guess so.
I fear that's one of my gifts to the universe. I make mistakes so people know it's okay to make mistakes.
No, I was so worried in the starting when I was giving the, like introducing you and Emily. I was like, should I go faster than this? Am I taking way too much time? What am I doing? But it was good, so no worries.
It was great. Yeah. It was great.